in a 2007 Lincoln MKZ, or Mark Z.
Last year this car was called the Zephyr. They bumped up the engine to a 3.5-liter V6 with just over 260 horsepower. It's a good engine, and when you get into the pedal, it really does find a decent amount of power. The best thing about the MKZ has to be the way that it looks. It actually looks like a really mean car, much better than a lot of the Lincoln styling has been for years.
On the exterior, the styling says this is something that's going to be luxurious, sporty at the same time, and is going to be kind of fun to drive. And then you get in it.
The minute you sit down in here, the dashboard and the center console especially look cheap.
None of the surfaces, none of the textures, none of the materials say luxury to me.
You don't even have to touch it to know that the plastic materials here feel like melted down army men.
The air vents, straight out of the Mustang, and probably in some other Ford cars too.
I understand that large companies take the exact same parts bin and use it over and over in all their cars. That's not the problem. The problem is when those parts fundamentally are bad. Since most people buy a car like this as a long-distance cruiser or a commuter, that means the place that you sit has got to matter most.
The seats, they feel kind of soft initially, but then they get hard.
The place to sit in this car is where it fails the biggest.
There is zero handling.
And the suspension tuning is a bit frightening. The more you throw it in, the more it gives you body roll.
It's like there's 4 giant jet-puffed marshmallows at all 4 corners masquerading as shock absorbers.
Now, okay, you can argue you don't buy a Lincoln because you're going to go on a mountain road like we are today. That's fair. Maybe the only reason you're going to buy a car like this is for cruising on the highway. And at that point, the Lincoln gains some points back. Where this car gets into trouble is presenting itself as a luxury car. For the cost, starting at $30,000 and going up to $38,000 loaded, that's now competing directly with the BMW 3 Series, the Audi A4,
The Acura TL,
the Lexus IS or ES Series,
and especially the Infiniti G35.
In that price point, this is like the ugly girl that showed up last for the dance. Lincoln, reach higher.
This was designed by the accountants.
I think you need to reach a little farther. If you're going to spend the mid $30,000 range and you want something that's a good 4-door sedan with enthusiast points, you can't buy the MKZ.
You know that whole thing called buyer's remorse? I think it's got a name, and it's called the Lincoln Mark Z.